Welcome to the So I'm a Fan of podcast, where people from different fandoms come together to share why they love what they love.
And sometimes hate what they hate.
I'm your host, Kaiser Brown.
And I'm Sabrina Gill, your co-host for our animation takeover.
And today we'll be talking about
Steven Universe. Yeah, it was my pick this time.
All right,
and because of that, I have some jokes for you. Are you ready?
Oh, yes. Go ahead. Give me some jokes to see if you got it. What's it?
I got them written down here. So, when Yellow Pearl posed for Blue Pearl to have her portrait done, what does she say to Blue Pearl?
Green Pearl.
Draw me like one of your French pearls. Didn't get it? Like French girls? Like, Your jokes weren't funny either, okay, Kaiser? Okay? Anyway, let's try another one, okay? So,
yeah.
Why did Lapis Lazuli fail her first hydrokinesis exam at her kindergarten?
I don't know. She was cracked.
Okay, you almost had it. It's because she cracked under the pressure. Get it?
Cracked under the pressure.
That one's kind of messed up. Okay, I'll take that one. It's messed up. Yeah, boo. I'm sorry, Lapis. Though you were kind of crude.
Is that all your jokes?
Yeah, sadly. That's all I got.
So today, guys, we're talking about Steven Universe. Sabrina, what's your relationship to the show? Tell us about it.
So of course it was really popular as we were in our teens leading into college. And I honestly unpopular opinion, I actually wasn't a big fan of early Steven Universe, the beginning episodes. It was a little I have really bad secondhand embarrassment, so he was definitely never really embarrassed. He would do all these goofy and embarrassing things, and I would be have the secondhand embarrassment for him, so I just couldn't watch. However, as the story progressed, it kind of started to develop this storyline of this obviously it's always been about the same thing, but you start to find out these secrets that turn it into this full-fledged story of turning over against your homeworld colony and revolution, and Steven's mom being this pinnacle in it all. And so then I was hooked, and then I became, sadly, a fan. But that's not to say I'm a super fan. I may even mess up some stuff as we talk about this, because it's been a little bit since I've caught up on my knowledge. But this was a nice moment to have a flashback to the past of something I used to be obsessed with. Yeah, what about you, Kaiser?
What about me, Steven Universe? Okay, so I saw a few episodes of the show, and that's it. It was always on the background. No, it wasn't always on the background. It was sometimes on the background because Cartoon Network eventually just stopped showing this show. It seems like they just showed it whenever they had new episodes.
Well, that's just because Steven Universe asks a lot of big questions of kids, and some parents don't like that. And also, it also is as you experienced, it's very emotional.
But also, they just showed a lot of Teen Titans Go, so they didn't just do it to Steven Universe. They did to all their shows at one point and just played Teen Titans Go on Cartoon Network for quite a few years straight. And then every now and then you saw a little bit We Bare Bears or something. Even Adventure Time suffered from this, the Teen Titans Go curse. And we talked about Teen Titans Go last episode and Steven Universe. It's kind of ironic, and I find it so hilarious because I love Teen Titans Go, but they really did play that show too. Yeah. And people are complaining about that for years. They kind of lessened it a bit, but they still do it. Just they show more shows now. But Cartoon Network has a habit of burying shows as soon as they premiere. They do it to so many of them. They did it to Steven Universe, not when it premiered, but a few years later. They did it to Adventure Time a few years later. They did it to that Justice League show, Justice League Action. You ever saw that show?
I'd heard about it because my best friend is a big DC nerd, but I had not personally seen it.
They buried that show on the ground. They premiered the first 4 or 5 episodes on a Friday night, and then every week after that premiered on Saturday morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. As if kids get up that early on Saturday mornings anymore. Nobody does that.
Yeah, Saturday morning cartoons are dead.
Eventually, it stopped showing it on Saturdays, stopped showing it altogether, and then all of a sudden, they started premiering a new episode. I remember this because I liked that show. They premiered a new episode early in the morning at 7 o'clock from Monday through Friday every week until they had run out the episodes, and that's it. Did the same thing to DC Superhero Girls too. But you know what? We're just not gonna get into that. Let's just say Cartoon Network bird shows. This show is about Steven Universe, I can go into a Cartoon Network lesson on another day. What episodes of Steven Universe did you pick today?
Okay, so we picked 3 episodes, and I met with my council of Steven Universe fans to decide which ones we would do. And so, of course, it was Lion 3 Straight to Video, which is episode 35. The next one, which is Rose's Scabbard, which is, I believe, episode 45. And then we did Jailbreak, which is a very popular episode, which is episode 49. And so it was somewhat of a cohesive story between the 3, like this little thread between all of them. But I thought it was fun. It was started out on a little bit more of an emotional note, carry us through to like what is one of the more hyped episodes, in my opinion, one of the best songs, in my opinion, though many may argue their choice of music, but it's one of my favorites. We'll see.
Let's just get started. Let's get into it. Let's have some Steven Universe fun. I need to know all the stuff. Do I really need to know all the stuff? No, I don't. But let's get started. Go ahead. You start taking the lead.
Okay. So I guess we start with Lion 3 Straight to Video. For those of you who don't know, Steven Universe, obviously it's about this young boy who is half gem and half human. And he's like the first of his kind. His dad is this man who lived in Beach City, and his mom is Rose Quartz, a gem who led a revolution against Homeworld, the world of gems that tried to take over the Earth. Her revolution succeeded, and they managed to protect the Earth. Basically, she had Steven and disappeared, and this led to Steven being on his own, being raised by his dad, Greg, Mr. Universe, and the Crystal Gems. The show plays out very lightheartedly in the beginning of him finding his different powers as being part human and gem. But we start to get to where we are now in Lion 3 Straight to Video, where he's basically met this pink lion who is very reminiscent of Steven's mom, kind of doesn't fully listen to Steven, but at the same time, like, I wouldn't say nags on him, but he's definitely still very attentive to Steven. And so in this episode, obviously it starts out at the donut shop, Lion not necessarily fully paying attention to Steven, but, you know, they're there trying to decide what they want to eat. And, of course, Sadie and Lars are there. Lars is cleaning up while Sadie's at the counter. And Steven notices these lunch bags, and he finds out that that's actually Sadie's lunch. Her mom has packed her lunch every day, even though she's technically a young adult. She thinks it's so uncool that her mom is still packing her lunches at this age. But Steven's like, you know what? I want a lunch.
Some of them are old because you have a whole roll of in there. Yeah, I'm like, sis, you can give it to somebody else or something. You just waiting for somebody to ask.
I know.
Weeks later,
like, could you imagine pulling the wrong lunch and it's like just this nasty sandwich?
I hope the thing was refrigerated.
Well, it was. I think it was meant to be like one of those little refrigerated, like almost like a drink machine. It was like disgusting. Like I wouldn't have tried it. I don't know about you. I wouldn't have tested the bag.
No.
But of course, Steven picks the bagged lunch, and it ends up luckily being a good one. It's the PB&J, and he kind of has this moment where he's kind of like, "Man, I wish my mom was still around to pack me lunches." And it kind of starts this like reminiscent for Steven of like what he could have, but still kind of trying to be happy with what he has. They start getting ready for bed, and Lion is like a little clingier than usual. Obviously, like he doesn't listen to Steven, but for some reason he's just like a little attentive. He tries to get in Steven's bed, and Steven's like, no. Your bed's over there. I'm going to lay in my bed. And as Steven goes off to sleep, he ends up having this dream of being in a grassy pink field. And of course,
that
he's
wasn't
like
a dream.
Confused.
I knew exactly what it was as soon as I saw it.
I know. It like this field of grass, only for him to realize he can't breathe. And it's him being suffocated by Lion. Luckily, Pearl was there to save him because, you know, she was watching him sleep.
Yeah, so I have a question.
Yeah.
Is she watching him sleep because, or like she's like kind of in love with Rose, or is it because she's trying to protect him, or is it both?
Yes, it's both. So,
okay.
So to gems, humans are like a unique existence because gems don't need to eat. They technically don't need to sleep. And so in my mind, like, because Pearl's always been really overprotective of Steven because it's like the last remaining connection she has to Rose, who they don't say, like, they said, oh, I was her humble assistant, her servant, her Pearl. But in reality, it's implied that, yeah, she's in love with Rose, even though Rose doesn't necessarily know that. And of course, like, that's part of why she treasures Steven, and also, like, she gets to know Steven, she comes to love Steven. And so she's like so worried about him to the point where she watches him sleep because she's so afraid something bad's gonna happen to him. And again, she saves him. They fuss at Lion, but things kind of settle again, and they go back to bed again. And Steven's having his little helicopter dog dream as they're playing a board game. Only only for it to happen a second time that he awakes in this grassy field of pink. And then he comes to realize again, oh, I'm being suffocated by Lion. And so he pushes Lion off, and that's when he's like, no, you're getting out. And so he goes to put Lion in timeout by throwing him outside.
Before he does that, it's because Lion. It's not because Lion kept doing it. It's because he did it for another time, and then he stuck his claws in Steven's back.
That's right. Like wrapping his arms around him.
And I'm like, no, you got to get out of here, Lion. I don't play that. The day is over. You're out of here because we're not doing that.
I agree.
I know he has to do it on purpose, but you better use some other than your claws. You a lion. I'm a freaking human being. You don't need your claws to sit here and put it in my back.
But well, just imagine the weight of a lion too, like crushing your face in you sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, not fun at all. But that doesn't last for long because, Lion turns on the puppy dog eyes or like the kitty eyes and is just like, why are you leaving me out? And Steven caves and is like, I forgive you. I'm sorry. But of course, as Steven puts his face in the lion's mane, that's when we realize that lion's mane is a portal to a hidden base. And of course, it's not specifically said in the beginning whose base it is, but as Steven approaches the lone island in this secret place, it's full of what is obviously Rose Quartz's stuff, his mom. And it's like memorabilia items, t-shirts, and you didn't watch the other like episodes before this, but some of them are actually featured in other episodes. One, I think it's Lion 2 straight to video. I might be wrong. But they're cleaning out a garage and they find all these at-home movie tapes with Steven's mom on them. And one of them, she gets like the band shirt for Greg's band. And so that's one of the things that's hanging there. It's the flag from the battle from what will be a later episode. And it's just all this stuff. And of course, amidst it all is a videotape labeled for Steve. Of course.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is his mane actually a portal? Or is it just inside his mane? Because when I think portal, I think how the wardrobe in Narnia takes you to a different place. Mm-hmm. When I see him, I just see you going in his mane, can't breathe, and you can just like walk inside of it. So is it actually a portal or is it just like a door?
So I don't think it's like confirmed, but to my knowledge, this is just like a place almost like hidden in space with no access to it, but through Lion's mane. It's not necessarily inside of Lion. Lion is a living entity. I want to say that like in a season or so later, I can't say anything without it kind of spoiling some more stuff. But
I'm just saying it's weird because if he goes in his mane, it's a portal. Wouldn't he be able to breathe if it wasn't just his mane?
Not if it's connected to like outside of space, because gems don't need oxygen to breathe. So if it's in outer space or if it's a locked off like dimension, like the place where they live actually has like that little platform that you can step on and it ports you to different spots where there are other platforms. And it's almost like a pocket dimension, if you will.
Since Steven is only half a gem, that's why he can't breathe in there?
Yeah, it's because he's part human and he requires oxygen to breathe.
I guess you can get all the superpowers.
So of course he takes the video out, and the only place he can think of that has a videotape player is Sadie's place. And so he runs off to the donut shop, which is just opening, and they think he's there for donuts, but he whispers to Sadie like he found this video, and sure enough, they sit down and watch it together. And lo and behold, it's an at-home video from Rose and Greg. Though Rose is like narrating Greg doing all this cute stuff, them talking to Steven. And it's like just this very cute family moment of like them trying to show Steven how excited they are that he's going to be there. And that's also where we kind of get this real big like bomb as to what really happened to Rose Quartz. It's kind of just implied that she passed away or that she's no longer here. We find out that she actually became Steven. Both of them could not exist at once, which kind of makes sense because so gems cannot have children. The way gems are born is that there's basically a machine that inserts like a core, like a seed, if you will, of a crystal, and it plants it into the ground, the perfect climate, whatever. So gems don't like have children. Like there's no way to like transfer of like, in a sense, genetic material or life. So in order for Steven to be born, Rose in a sense had to die. And then there's like one of the best quotes ever, which is the reason why my friend Sky picked this episode. It's when she looks at the camera and is telling Steven, like, that, she had to give up her life to let him live. And she basically says,
Steven, we can't both exist. I'm going to become half of you. And I need you to know that every moment you love being yourself. That's me, loving you and loving being you. Because you're going to be something extraordinary. You're going to be a human being.
Hey, Rose!
Take care of them, Steven.
This episode tripped me out. Why'd you do that to me? Who you said, which one of your friends picked up? What's the name?
Her name is Skylar. Sky.
What's Skylar? Tell Skylar to make sure to listen to this episode. First of all, Skylar, listen to this episode, and I'm talking directly to you. You are messed up. Why would you do that to me? Why the heck would you pick this episode in order to make me cry?
It's like Steven Universe staple, okay?
I can't believe you, Skylar. I need to talk to you because I need to check what's going on in your head. Because if you couldn't pick a happy Steven Universe episode, you couldn't make me all floaty and singy. La la la. No, you had to go in there and pick a whole episode where we learn about how Steven Universe's mother kind of, sort of, maybe died, and then
yeah, but like, so
and then sad music. What?
So that's the thing about this episode. So, like I said, the thing I like the most about Steven Universe is that it has a way of addressing very like complex topics that are like hard for children to understand. Like people don't often like to talk about death to children. And so this was kind of like a nod to like give comfort to all those kids who may not have both of their parents or their people that they like that may not have their relatives always in their lives for whatever the circumstances may be. It was like a way to introduce loss as a very like understandable topic to kids and young adults alike. That's why I like the show. It has its very happy high moments, like Gem Harvest, something fun, like a speed chase, but then it has these like slow moments where it like hits you right in your feelings and you just want to go cry. Which,
because I get the sentiment. They did it well. They did it really. It was great, but I should not have watched that episode because I started crying.
It's okay. It's okay. I want to say that a long time ago when I first watched it, I'm pretty sure I was probably also very like moved almost to tears.
But look, it's probably my fault because the older I have gotten, the more emotional I've gotten. It all started when watching Wonder Woman in 2017. All of a sudden, when Steve Trevor died, I started crying. And then all of a sudden, I start watching K-dramas and I start crying. Then all of a sudden, I'm watching anime and I start crying. Cardcaptor Sakura, bawling my eyes out at the beginning. As soon as the song plays, if y'all know the song Platinum, that's the third opening in Cardcaptor Sakura, whatever you want to call it. I bawled my eyes out every single time Tomoyo just popped up on that screen. It was ridiculous. Fruits Basket did it to me, and then all of a sudden, because I was already emotional, but I was hiding emotions inside, I guess. The older I get, the less I don't even do that anymore, and then all of a sudden, it just starts flooding out, and then rivers of tears come out. I said, what is this? What? No. No. Go ahead.
And well, on the topic of crying, that's kind of how this episode ends. After watching the clip, like Sadie and Steven are like brought to tears. And of course, like Steven takes his video and he goes to leave with like, to be alone in his thoughts. And of course, at that moment, the episode ends with Sadie calling her mom to say how much she actually appreciated the lunches. And it's kind of like this moment of realization that you have to like treasure what you have. And it's like definitely really wholesome. And like, that clip is so good. I hope you put it in. Like, you better take out me saying it. And you put the clip of her in. Just, we can all sit together in our feelings as Rose tells us how happy she is that we exist. Oh my gosh, Kaiser, are you crying? My poor baby.
No. Okay, what'd you feel about how many gems would you rate this episode out of 5? Let's just
5. What you mean? I will say, the episode itself as a whole is like realistically, it's probably a 4. But like Rose's part, it's a 5. It's a 5 because that one clip alone just it sends chills down your spine, and it's like, makes you feel.
It's a 5 because they were able to do all that in just 11 minutes.
I know.
They got me. Like, you know, I'd be complaining sometimes how children's cartoons in America just be like 11-minute things sometimes, and sometimes people try to do too much, fit too much in 11 minutes. They were able to do what they needed to do in that 11 minutes. The pacing was excellent. The story was excellent. The character moment, I got a feel of who these characters were. I keep saying that. I said that last time with the Steven Universe episode with the Gem Harvest, but I got to understand it for who these characters were in this episode. Even like the smaller characters like Sadie and what's the guy name? Lars. Yeah, I can get an idea of the type of character he is. And then the mama, she just messed me up. She wrong for that. Shoot. But it's okay. And then her relationship with Greg, like you can tell that they were happy.
Yeah.
And you can see how those two made Steven.
I know.
You can see how they made Steven. But I'm sure their relationship was pretty complicated as well. But, you know, that's not what we saw this episode. We just saw sadness. So, I mean, and happy. But so we're just going to talk about that.
I'm just saying you could watch more episodes if you want. You know, we can do a marathon. We can do it.
You say that every single time. Let's go to the next episode. The next episode is Rose's Scabbard. Is Scabbard or Scabbard?
It's Scabbard. Right? Yes.
Scabbard. Yes, because I know nothing about what those things that hold swords. So that's the first time I probably heard that word.
So proud of you.
No, that I recognize the word. I guess it's probably the first time I heard the word. Why am I getting to complication of whether I heard a word or not? Let's just get into the episode.
Yeah.
Okay. What happens this episode, Sabrina? I need to know.
Okay. I was about to say, I guess I'm carrying the show this time. So
no,
this
start.
What?
I'm just gonna interrupt you every single time you just open your mouth.
Anyway.
And so I love, X-Men. So great.
Yeah. Just like the Crystal Gems. They're like the X-Men.
No.
Yeah.
No,
okay. Anyway, so this episode starts in a strawberry field that was once a battlefield of roughly 3,000 to 5,000 years ago. They're there because Garnet says that all these weapons lying around are definitely not safe for the human population. And so as such, they're walking through this field, picking up weapons, small and then huge enough to probably crush an entire building. But as they're walking, as Lion's sniffing around, he finds what appears to be a scabbard. And of course, this sends Pearl off the handle because who else's scabbard could it be but Rose Quartz's? Because, it's bright pink. Well, it's a little stereotypical, but it made sense, It was like, oh, yes, the only person who could own a pink scabbard is Rose Quartz, y'all.
The pink lady. I mean, who would have thought?
Well, my thing is there are other pink ladies. You just haven't seen them yet. But anyway.
The large one.
Yeah.
Wait,
well, you haven't even heard about the giant woman. What do you mean? You didn't
There's a giant woman that's pink?
No, she's not pink.
Rose?
She's opal.
Oh.
But anyway. Well, it was a joke because there's a song called Giant Woman. And it's another cute really song. Anyway, back to the story. So, of course, Pearl decides to go on this whole romanticized telling of how Rose fought in this battle all those years ago and how she saved everyone. Meanwhile, Garnet is kind of like, no, this battle was terrible, But, Pearl just continues on because, whenever it comes to Rose, nothing can be wrong. Like, Rose is perfect. They had this happy relationship where Rose confided every single detail to Pearl.
All the sermon just went out the window when she was around Rose. Okay.
Yeah. Which is crazy because Pearl is known to be, in a sense, the voice of worry and reason. That kind of, you don't see it yet this early in the show. But there's like a big emphasis on roles. Like each gem is born with a role. And so for Pearls, their role is to basically help those in higher power. They're basically like servants. They're meant to be like the right-hand man. They are programmed to be solely devoted to whoever their master is. And so
I know about that part a little bit.
Yeah, so like right now, we as the watcher are just like, man, she's annoying. She needs to get over Rose. She's already gone.
I like Pearl. I don't care what if somebody. Well, I'll get into that, but yeah, go ahead.
So anyway, in the midst of this all, like, they start to leave the battlefield when Pearl's like,
"Can you keep a secret?"
A secret?
Shh! It's a secret, even to Garnet and Amethyst. Rose had a place that she kept hidden from all but me. But you have her gem. That place is yours now, and I can show it to you.
Okay.
And they teleport somewhere, and she's like, okay, it's so many miles that way. Let's go. And so they do this whole trek, and Pearl's talking it up the whole time, only for them to get there. And what else? Then Steven's like, oh, okay, I've already been here before. And Pearl is like shocked. She's like, what? You've been here? No. She's like, how could you get here?
Oh, what?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
And then, of course, she's like, how could you get here? Who do you think brought her there? Brought him there? Yes.
What? Do you mean the lion?
Yes, it was Lion. Again, you didn't see the episode, but like, Lion brings Steven there.
Said Lion brought him there. He said it.
Yeah. I was trying to make you like involved, Kaiser.
Oh, I am involved. You see, I'm adding all these different ad libs. I'm just like, whoa, what?
Yeah. My studio audience.
Yeah.
Anyway, so of course Steven starts pulling out all this stuff, like not necessarily being technical, but just trying to have fun. And then Pearl's just appearing to get more and more like disgruntled and a little jealous that it seems like the secret that was between her and Rose is no longer a secret.
Rose was a warrior. She had weapons. She had armor. She had all this stuff. I'm like, she ready to kill. She is ready to kill. She look all nice and stuff, but she'll take you out. She has stuff in that big hair of hers too. I know it wasn't just a line. She got some in that head. I know she does. I'm not dumb. You can tell. I drew her myself. IAFO stickers of Steven Universe coming out. I know something big in that head because it took me a while to do it.
Yeah, that's Steven sticker. It will be mine. Anyway, so needless to say, all this is being done because they're in the process of looking for Rose's sword that belongs in the scabbard. When after all this, like, Pearl's like, it's just this giant pink broadsword, and like, shows the little pictogram coming from her gem. And Steven's like, oh, I have seen that somewhere before. And they go back to the house, they find Lion, and of course, lo and behold, Steven pulls the sword right out of Lion's mane. And Pearl is in shock, like, how is that happening? Well, what's going on? Because up until this point, there's been no direct connection between Rose and Lion to anybody else but Steven. And of course, Pearl's like flabbergasted, like, this can't be happening. She would have told me. And of course, like, the rest of the gems are like, oh, Rose kept a lot of secrets. And then, of course, Pearl's like, well, not from me. Rose didn't keep secrets from me. And she has a tantrum and storms off.
Poor girl.
I feel bad for her.
I felt bad for her, too.
At the same time, though, like, I don't know. I feel like I get why she was so upset. Love makes you do crazy things. But, like, how old is Steve? She had time.
It was just more than love, though, too. It's also, like, her memories. She only remembered the good parts, too. Only remembered the parts with Rose that, like, all the other stuff didn't really matter as much, because once you get further away from certain points in time, the things that you remember aren't always going to be the bad things. Your body may keep score, but your brain probably doesn't. So when you think of somebody, especially them fondly, you're going to just start remembering the best stuff. It's like when you go to a funeral, nobody talks about how horrible that person was. They only start to remember and talk about, during that time, they only start to talk about, like, this is what they did that's good. This is what they did, even if they got to, like, search really deep within themselves. And I think that's kind of Pearl's relationship with Rose. She looked at her with rose-colored glasses,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Pearl storms off, and Steven chases after her using Lion. And by the time they catch up to her, they're back at this battlefield on a cliff. And we find out that this is where Rose actually incited the rebellion. She met with Pearl, her closest confidant, and was like, look, I'm about to do something that's irreversible. We will never be able to go back to our home. So feel free to turn back now, but I'm going to do this. And of course, Pearl, being in love with her, was like, no, like, if you're going, I'm going. and they swore, like, companionship to move forward together. Pearl admits that she feels kind of left behind, like she's stuck back in the past of, like, what was Rose, and while everybody else is just moving on like nothing happened. And of course, Steven is like, no, like, I'm not gonna leave you alone. Like, I care about you. Like, you're amazing. And they have, like, that heartfelt moment of, like, where both of them console each other in the absence of Rose.
He even does a back hug. So sweet.
And then, they decide to make, like, a happier moment out of it and start goofing around on the battlefield, reenacting scenes, like Pearl's telling these war stories as, like, Steven pulls props from the lion. And in that same moment, they put Rose's sword back into his mane as, like, to close the chapter and, like, this happier future that can be had without Rose.
Yeah, it was so sweet. I loved when Pearl cried.
You didn't like crying, no, but it's okay when Pearl cries?
Everything I ever did, I did for her. Now she's gone. But I'm still here. Sometimes I wonder if she can see me through your eyes. What would she think of me now?
Well, I think you're pretty great.
What I mean by that, like, her character, it showed, like, how deeply upset she was and how much Rose affected her life and how much her friends affect her life, seeing how she's reacted to her friends' reactions, right? And it's interesting how their characters are different because you see Rose, who kind of went hysterical, not Rose, Pearl, who kind of went hysterical, crying because she felt she was the closest, and she realized that not everything she knew was a lie, but there were things that were being kept from her. And so she thought she knew everything. And when she realized she didn't, it's just like her whole world changed. And she went hysterical. But you see how Amethyst and Garnet reacted. Garnet was very calm, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was quite interesting to just see Garnet just like keep it all together. Kinda, for the most part, keep it all together when it came to all that, despite her not like answering Steven's questions when he was asking, but that's a whole different story that we'll probably get into one day. And then Amethyst, how you saw how Amethyst was just very angry when Pearl was reacting that way. Amethyst just like went back on, clapped back at her and like, was just angry. And it was interesting how she probably wasn't just angry at Pearl. She was also angry probably at the fact about Rose too in her own way, you know what I mean? It is interesting. I find it interesting, like how Steven affects these characters, like how this child being here, affects everyone's emotions. Like, because I will feel like Steven, not him being baggage, but I'll feel like he would bring up like a lot of baggage from like their past too. So I don't know, because I watched like the first episode of Steven Universe once, and so how they introduced the characters, they already knew each other. So I don't know. Tell me, did they know Steven since he was a baby, or like?
So technically, yes. Like they have been around since he was a baby. So in later episodes, they kind of do a lot of flashbacking to like the time when they were all like, I say younger, like when Rose was around versus how things are now that Steven's around. And you also get to see like these different emotional reactions like you talk about. There's actually also a little bit more to do in other aspects. It's hard to say without spoiling stuff that may come later, especially stuff that we're about to talk about, so maybe we can talk about them a little later once we reveal certain aspects. But they do address it. Like Amethyst is like really chill, but you can tell that she actually holds a lot of anger inside, but she feels the need to act like everything's okay and she's cool and chill.
Yeah.
It's
therapy.
The same way,
therapy.
The only one who kind of doesn't need therapy, I would say kind of, is Garnet. Kind of. I don't know. They kind of have their little their episode.
I have to ask the question about that sword. Is that the same sword Connie gets later in the show? Or she
you want me to tell you and spoil it, or do you want to?
Yeah, spoil it. I just want to know because okay. Because it looked familiar. I'm like, is that when I watched it? Because whenever like Steven Universe would be on, because I noticed they would have the one where she was just like there. I'm like, that's that shy girl. And then all of a sudden, one day I saw an episode, and then she had this giant sword. come out like her back or whatever. So I was like, is that the same sword?
It is. So Connie is kind of like obviously one of Steven's consistent human friends, and through a series of events, it's kind of implied that her and Steven have like crushes on each other.
Well, they also do the thing where you like
the
they
fusion.
do next episode. They fuse together too. They have their own
yes,
fusion. I know
Stefani.
that.
And so
yeah,
it's kind of implied that you only fuse with people that you give your whole heart to, because it's you merging yourself with them. And the cool thing there though is that later on, as like Steven's facing off against, I guess, the universe, ironically Steven Universe, it's like she basically decides to join the fight, and when she does and says she wants to protect Steven, and she shows promise in the act of sword fighting, that's when she's kind of like, bestowed Rose's sword.
I have thoughts about fusion, but I'm gonna save them for the next episode that we talk about, because
that's the fusion episode.
And there's 2 characters fuse, and just like they're doing something with that, and it's not the characters you think I'm talking about, it's the other characters. So but let's just get into that one, because that one kind of like the allegory of that just kind of interested me. So that one's Jailbreak, right?
Yes. So the last episode we'll be talking about is Jailbreak.
They're all still in the first season, right?
Yes, this is all still season 1. So this episode takes place a little bit later, and what we didn't see between what I just talked about at this battlefield to now is that gems from Homeworld have come to survey Earth again to see if it's plausible to start creating more gems and taking over the planet. And it's just a survey squad is what it was supposed to be. But a series of unfortunate events kind of lead to the exposing of the crystal gems and showing that gem life is plausible on Earth. So they basically take back the reconnaissance team and decide to come back with a squad that's going to begin the prep for taking over Earth again, like what Rose stopped all those years ago. So a scuffle leads to a giant fight against this character Jasper, who's like a tank-like character, and the engineer of sorts, who's in charge of starting the mechanisms that will basically consume the Earth for gem use, named Peridot. And their little scout Aquamarine, who's a little pain in the butt, but
So Jack is the orange lion kind of looking.
Jasper, yeah, she's the orange one.
Jasper.
Or they?
Okay, I don't know.
Gems technically don't have gender, so they.
Whatever.
So and then Peridot is green. Aquamarine is blue. So anyway, there's a scuffle, and of course, Steven takes the hit. They all go down, and this episode begins with them waking up in a prison inside of a spaceship just outside of Earth's orbit. So Steven wakes up in his cell, obviously with a black eye and like freaking out, doesn't know where anybody is. All he can hear is obviously the angered muffles of somebody else who's in his same block, and he's just like, I have to get out and find the rest of the gems. So he goes to touch the cell door, and what should be a solid electric wall ends up moving as Steven touches it. And so it's kind of implied. Yeah, it's implied that that's because he's human, because he's not completely gem. He doesn't get shocked back into his gem, because that's what happens when you touch the wall. It's meant to electrocute you to the point where you pass out and you recede back into your gem self versus your physical humanoid form. He manages to pass through, and of course that's when he bumps into an angry Ruby. And Ruby's just this small little angry espresso bean who's upset and is worrying about another character that we haven't met yet named Sapphire. And so Ruby ends up begging Steven to help him out to get out so they can find Sapphire before anything bad happens. And so of course Steven agrees to help. He's like, I'll help you find your friend and we can find the rest of my friends, the crystal gems. And so, he lets Ruby out, and they start exploring, following the sound of what is singing, which they believe to be Sapphire singing to lead them to. And so, of course, in their search, they end up having to hide because Peridot and Jasper come passing by. And who do they find but an old friend named Lapis Lazuli? And unlike where we were last episode, dependent, separate from where we saw them last time in Gem Harvest, this is in the past when Lapis was very much to themselves. They were trapped in a mirror, had all these betrayals that led to this point where they were just in the epitome of like defeat. And so Steven is like, come on, I'll help you out. Like, we can escape. But Lapis is just like, no. We have to just give up. If we let go now, we can go to court in Homeworld and we can
Wait,
get
you
off the
said
Larkstone.
Lapis. Oh, Lord. I'm thinking of Peridot.
Yes, you are.
Peridot is taller than usual.
Yeah.
See, you didn't correct me.
It's because for some reason I didn't
You
understand what
love
you
it.
said. I was like, I guess she
Yeah.
could be taller. But I
I
was
don't
like, I
know.
can't tell she was
Her hair
Cinderella.
is shorter than usual. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. She had a different design. Her later design is different. But
Yes.
yeah, I meant Peridot is taller than usual.
Oh,
And I would say go ahead.
I was gonna say it's because she's wearing boots.
Yeah, I could tell because I'm like, sis got also really high like boots or heels going.
They're
on.
leg extenders, is I think what she calls
Like,
them.
yeah, I could tell that, and I found that hilarious. But that's the first time I saw Peridot because this is one of the episodes of Steven Universe that I actually did see, and I remember people talking about this episode specifically a lot when it first came out. I remember this episode very well. This is the episode out of these three that I actually saw. So
Yeah.
it was interesting to come back knowing some stuff
Yeah.
that I didn't know.
So, of course, like, Steven's like, no, we're not going to give up. We're going to make it out of here. And so Lapis decides to just, be upset in their cell. And Steven moves on to an attempt to go save everyone. Yeah. Boo-hoo. So, of course, they follow the singing. And who do they find? Well, Steven specifically finds them first. But small blue gems singing. And, of course, Steven lets them out. And Sapphire's like, oh, I knew you were coming. And
we got both Pokemon games now. Yay.
Yeah, Sapphire and
All we
Ruby.
gotta do is now we just gotta make Emerald.
Yeah.
What? It's Emerald, right?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah, Emerald.
So in this moment, Ruby ends up running behind them and is like, Sapphire! And they do this whole scene where Ruby scoops up Sapphire in this beautiful twirl. And what did they do but fuse to create Garnet? And so we find out that this whole time up until now, Garnet has been a fusion. And so her sunglasses were actually hiding 3 eyes. And if you had paid attention to her design, she actually has 2 gems, one on each hand.
Yes. Not only does she do that, but she can sing and rap. And she's not a triple threat, she's a quadruple threat.
Yes.
If that's the one after triple. She's a threat.
Yeah.
And she got the coolest design. So,
Yeah.
go sis. And she black too. So
yeah. Actually, there's an episode. Well, okay, I don't want to. So there's a story.
Everything, Sabrina. I don't care.
Okay, so I'm worried about the viewers.
Spoiler alert.
Okay, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
There's a later episode that comes around when they first ever meet and they fuse on accident. Because fusion is actually a taboo back in Homeworld with gems that are not your own gem. So a prime example of this
I know what fusion is an allegory for the most part, right? I'm just gonna let you know. For the most part, not all the time, but we know what it is an allegory for.
It's technically.
So I bet you, like, after they fused, they couldn't get enough. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all.
No, it's not like that. It's meant to be. So yes, it implies that connotation that you're giving it, but it's meant to be like a symbol for like a relationship you could have with somebody. It can be like with Connie and Steven, it's this like young and innocent friendship of love. It's like it's a symbolism truly for love.
Yeah.
Some are more toxic than others, but yeah.
That's what I mean. It's like that's an allegory, like one of many allegories. It's like the 12 different forms of intimacy. You know how people say like you got the 12 different forms of intimacy? One is like sex, right? So it's sexual, emotional, intellectual, aesthetic, creative, recreational, work, crisis, commitment, conflict, communication, and spiritual. So I was like, that's kind of what I was getting to. Like they different, like, because Steven and his dad fused too, and obviously that's not some
that's not not
so I'm saying there are like different types of love and how they were doing that. That's how they fuse. I'm just saying Ruby and Sapphire kind of got a little bit of one of them.
Well, okay,
among other ones.
I get what you mean. They all actually have their own dance style. Like you haven't seen the other ones fuse, but everybody has their own style of dance, which Garnet is definitely a little more like while Pearl is like classic ballet, while Amethyst is a little edgy, like clubber dance. Everybody has their own style. So anyway, we move forward. Garnet was explaining how they were gonna tell Steven, but they were waiting for his birthday, but the surprise came early. And Steven's like, "Oh well, I'll pretend like I don't know. I'll act surprised then," like, you know, like in a cute way. But they decide that, you know, they have to find the rest of the gems. But of course, who finds them other than Jasper, who up until this point you didn't get to see it, but every time Jasper has gone up against the gems and has seen Garnet, Jasper has kind of like been a little bit haughty about the fact, like, Jasper believes that fusion is used to make weak gems strong. So like, oh, you can't beat me on your own. The only way you can beat me is when there's two of you. Like, kind of a situation, you know? And like I said earlier, usually a prime example of fusion is usually between rubies. You'll usually have a ruby army, and when they all fuse, they make one giant strong ruby.
Cool.
But yeah. Anyway, so of course Garnet is like, Steven, I got this. I'll handle Jasper. You find the rest. And of course, Steven's like, how am I supposed to find everybody? And Garnet uses her powers to show Steven in his mind where everybody is, and
Garnet
then begins.
Is so cool.
Well, there's actually more behind it. So Sapphire has the ability to see the future, and that's her ability, and so that's how she was able to let Steven like see the future in a sense. Where
it makes her. She's just so cool. Like as a character, she's just like she kicks butt. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, sis,
Garnet is icy hot.
Bestie.
She loves it.
I gotcha. I see what you did there.
Well, that's actually their abilities too. Like like Ruby is canonically a hothead, and Sapphire is cold as ice. But anyway, so then begins one of my favorite songs in Steven Universe history, "Stronger Than You," and it's like, you can insert a clip, but it's so good. It's like kicking butt and singing a song, and it basically, the point of the song is to say that, oh, you say it's a tactic to make weak gems strong. It's not that. It's the fact that together we complete each other and make one another stronger emotionally and physically. And as Steven is like saving the rest of the gems, and they trap Peridot as they like crash the ship back into Earth, Garnet is obviously fighting Jasper and ends up winning. So the ship crashes, and, you know, all the gems are together again, and Steven uses his shield to protect everyone. But as the shield comes,
by that point, yeah.
Oh yeah. When the shield, it actually does end as the shield disappears. It does the little chimes out. So they're looking at the wreckage, and then lo and behold, Jasper crawls out the wreckage, saying that if they had somebody to fuse with, then there's no way that Garnet would beat them. And that, of course, in timing of any cinematic universe, the rubble moves again and shows a Lapis who was about to just fly away using her hydrokinesis wings. However, before she can escape, Jasper grabs her and is like, look, like, you can make it up to Homeworld. You can set things right. All this betrayal you've experienced can be made up if you just fuse with me. And it's like this very toxic and like peer pressure like experience. And it's kind of like meant to contrast what was like Garnet's fusion. What was this like very loving and tender moment is now this very like toxic and skin crawling feeling of like pressure.
It made me very uncomfortable.
Exactly.
That's what I wanted to say. It made me very uncomfortable, and I got it. And I was like, "Ooh, that's very toxic and forceful," you know.
And it's meant to. This episode really showed the two sides of what is fusion. Like, it showed the difference between what Homeworld saw fusion to be, like a means to an end, like this very like cold and desolate thing, in comparison to what Garnet saw it as is like the symbol of love. And so of course Lapis ends up agreeing to fuse with Jasper, and they do this very cold, like desolate dance, and then fuse to create Malachite, which is this giant monstrous entity. And as they're raising up the waters of Beach City to attack the crystal gems, the tables quickly turn. Sure enough, Lapis uses the water to put chains around their wrists and starts dragging Malachite into the ocean. And of course, Jasper's confused and angry and is like, why are you doing this? And Lapis is just like tired. She's like, I'm tired of being everybody else's prisoner. Now you're my prisoner. And I'm not going to let you do anything to me anymore. And then proceeds to drag, like imprisoning herself along with Jasper into the ocean. And it kind of leaves like the stunned scene of the crystal gems. Like everybody's just so confused. Like, what the heck just happened? Like
The
what?
toxicity of that entire interaction, I was like, man,
Yeah.
you can
Well,
tell that was abusive.
Garnet even like breaks the tension with that joke. She's like, that looks like a very toxic or unhealthy relationship. And that kind of ends the episode.
And then Connie calls. And that's it.
Yeah, Connie calls like, are you okay? I got your voicemail. That one friend
Connie,
who gets to the party too late.
Right.
Like when you call your friend at the club to get picked up because you drank a little too much, and then it's like 3 hours later and it's like, hey, I'm coming to the club. It's like, girl, I'm not at the club no more.
Right. I got an Uber. We went out to eat.
Yeah, it's like I'm already home, or I'm abducted.
Right. Like they came and got me. I thought this was my Uber. It was so strange.
Yeah, now I'm on a Lifetime episode.
Right. Like, come save me. Oh wait.
Oop.
You know, but
bleep. Done. Phone's gone. How do you feel about Steven Universe?
How I feel about Steven Universe, or how I feel about this episode? Because I got two different feelings.
Okay, well, let's do this episode first, and then we can talk about the overall review.
I'll give this episode a 5 out of 5.
I agree. That song, again, the music made it.
I thought it was fun. I like the song, but like, yeah, I like the song though. It wasn't my favorite part of the episode though.
Well,
I know because people love this song, but
it is a little overplayed.
It's a song. No, it's not that, because I haven't heard it that much. Besides a few times I watched the episode, it's just that it's an okay song. It's not like my favorite song in the world, you know.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with it being overplayed, or I heard it too much, or just people talk about too much. It's a good song. I mean, it's not like I'm not gonna sit over here and start jamming to it. Well, I started jamming to it earlier, but jamming to it like on my Spotify playlist.
Yeah, but like when it comes on, if you watch the episode again, you don't just go like, you don't just jam as like she's fighting. That's what I did. Whenever the song came on, I was so excited.
It's catchy.
That one, and then the Lapis Lazuli song is one of my favorites.
Which one is that one? I know there's a song with Pearl, and then where she dresses in a tuxedo.
Oh, that one is really popular too. So the one I'm talking about is it's literally really like a small clip. And it's from Steven's dad is making a song called Water Witch, is what it's called. And Steven does this little clip, and it's him talking about Lapis. It's like super short, not even like a real song, but I want a whole song of it. If I could get one day, I doubt it'll ever happen, but it basically talks about her being trapped and feeling like she has nowhere to go in the world. And it was just cute. I liked the slowness of it, while it was also melodic. I really liked it. So now I guess the overview.
Yeah, I like it. I don't mean I'm gonna watch it, but I like Steven Universe. I'm gonna see. I don't know if I want to watch it yet.
They're only 11 minutes
show.
Long. Every episode.
I know, but I'm not sure if I want to put energy in Steven Universe. I might just do it. I might just don't have to start. I mean, because I like slice of life episodes, so I'll be fine with like the episodic parts in the beginning. You know, I watch several shows like that. I'm just not sure if I want to start watching it now. But maybe, you know what? I'll start watching it. I'll give Steven Universe a chance, and I'll start watching the show. Because you love it so much, and since you love Steven Universe so much, as your friend, I'll get into it and see. If
you got me watching Precure. You can at least watch Steven.
Are you still watching it?
Yeah.
Not
completely as devoted as I was, taking notes on everything. But I'll pop it on in the background.
And goodness, and I like Precure, so it's fun. Since you like Precure, I'll get into Steven Universe because I like the show. I think it's cute and it's fun. I've seen some episodes of Steven Universe. I've seen some episodes of Steven Universe Future when I was on TV too. So, you know, it's not like I don't know anything about this show. You know, like I know enough. I knew about fusions. I knew about like the music thing. I knew like some of the characters like Peridot and Lapis. I didn't know about them, but I knew them, right? I knew the characters and their redesigns. I knew Connie would get the sword and all that stuff. I knew about Steven's, like I knew about his mom being a part of him. I just didn't know like the
clip.
The clip. You know what I mean? And so like it's stuff that I picked up over time. It's not like it's like fandoms and stuff. You read stuff and you see clips every now and then overall like it just starts to like come together, and I put 2 and 2 together for a lot of stuff, and I ended up not being wrong. So so that says a lot about that show.
Well, if you want to, like, we can make it like an event of it. Like, if you want to watch, like, you can come over to my house and we can do like fun pizza and like binge Steven or something.
No, I don't watch TV with you.
Why? It would be so fun.
No,
like, cause you're gonna cry next to me. You're gonna be in tears. No, I know another part that you'll be in tears in, and I just want to be there. I want to watch. I want to see the look on your face as tears stream down your eyes.
I can't believe you. Okay.
It's okay. I'm going to be crying right next to you. I'm going to be right next to you. I'm going to be like, I know it hurts, right? It hurts.
Yeah, I'm just going to look at you because I'm like, why are you crying? Like, this, like, no. But yeah, I'll watch Steven Universe. I'll watch it. But my next show, you probably going to have to watch too because I love it so much. But we'll get to that later. Overall, I would give this show a 5 out of 5 from what I've seen. These 4 episodes, the 4 episodes that I've seen,
yes,
4. So far, not including the episodes that I saw like in the background or whatever, but these 4 episodes that I actively watched, I will give it a 5 out of 5 so far.
Yes.
It just comes together, and it's nice that I know these characters and their interactions, how they will react to each other in just 11 minutes. Technically in just 44 minutes. No, technically in just not 44 minutes, 60 minutes, because the other one was like longer. So yeah, so that was cool. It was fun. It was great.
Yeah.
On to the game. Hi, Fanatics. It's me, Kaiser, and
Sabrina.
And I'm here to tell you about the IAFO store. Buy stickers, buy shirts. Right, Sabrina?
Of course.
What's your favorite item on there? My favorite is my melanin collection. I love looking at my sweatshirts and the masks, chains. It's so cool.
I actually enjoy the stickers. I love how each of them is themed after a different podcast episode done in your own unique style. I just think it's like a nice way to collect the year, having them all together and finishing out 2023 on a very high and colorful note.
Yes, right now we have the Ho 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 sticker with Santa Claus. We also have the melanin sticker. You can find all that there on the IAFO store. All at IAFOstore.com. Go and look at it right away.
Bye. Welcome back, everyone, to Professor S's segment of the day. We have matching gems plus fusion mayhem. Are you ready, young little Timmy?
I guess it looks like the title screen from the show, like the episode title. You must have worked really hard on this.
Yeah, I was very extra. I stole it off of Wiki. Now, are you ready to begin today's lesson?
I guess. Teach me what you need to teach me.
Of course. So we begin. Gem matching. So, of course, the way this game works is that on one side of the screen, we have what is the gems from the show, and then on the other, we have their actual gem forms found in the world as we know it. So, numbered 1 through, I believe, 9, you will just match the name of the gems to their real gems.
Okay.
And for the sake of this game and its severity, I will also give you the names of all the gems on screen if you require them.
Okay, so Pearl is number 2, Amethyst is number 1, and Garnet is number 3. Am I wrong?
Nope, that's correct.
I know I'm right. Because I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, the one time you get the test.
This is just a, test run. She's testing me to make sure I know what I'm talking about. We'll get into the real game, right?
Yeah,
because you're a smart professor who knows what's going on.
Yeah.
All right.
And then we have round 2, which is numbers 4, 5, and 6.
Why does number 4 look like a tower of some sort? It don't look like no crystal. It looks like some pyramid.
That's the quality of that gem.
I guess. Okay. I don't know the names. Am I supposed to know the names? You didn't explain the rules.
So I told you I'd give you the names if you would like. These are all characters from the show, as you see on one side. And going from what is The left side of the screen to the right, we have Peridot, Bismuth,
6,
and Jasper.
4, and 5.
Yes, that is correct.
I know I'm right.
And then
I'm
we have
smart.
the last section of gem matching. So
What's their names again?
So it's going to be blue agate, aquamarine, and then lapis lazuli.
Is Lapis number 8
No.
or number 9? She's number 9, isn't she? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's
Number 8 is the second one.
the short one. Are you saying number 8 is aquamarine?
It could be, but then I'm looking at the details of this one of number 8, and it kind of looks like the tall one, like the colors. The colors look like the first one. What's the first one?
Her name is blue agate.
So, because it looks very round, so that's why I think it's aquamarine, but the colors match more with the other blue girl. So I'm saying number 8 is number 1.
Yeah. Which means number 7 is?
It's number 7 is aquamarine.
Good job. Okay.
Look at me.
Yes. Okay. And so now we're on to the next segment, which is Fusion Mayhem. So basically, I have a character and their name on the screen, and you have to tell me what gems compromise them.
Okay. So I see garnet right here, right? So garnet is ruby and sapphire because it's red and blue, because they go together and they create a garnet. Ruby and sapphire make garnet. That is incorrect though, because ruby and sapphire make everything. Have they not played Pokemon?
That's not how that works.
Whatever. Okay, then malachite is Jasper and Peridot, right? Because it just looks like a slimy little lizard creature.
Is that your
that's
final
also
answer?
what happened in the show. Yeah, that's right, huh? Jasper and Peridot.
Jasper
and
Lapis.
I meant lapis. I keep getting Peridot and Lapis name.
That's you got the answer wrong.
I get their names confused. You knew who I meant. But whatever. You know what? Yes, you did. You knew who I meant.
You said they were both green.
I didn't say they were both green.
Yes, you like
did I?
Together and made green. Yes.
No, I said that thing reminded me of a lizard.
Oh. Well, too late. You still got the question wrong.
Lapis is blue.
Yes.
I don't know what I'm talking about. It was Lapis. I just got her name mixed with Peridot. You know I got their names mixed up earlier. See, whatever. Go ahead. Shoot. You're a horrible teacher.
Oh my gosh. It takes one to know one.
Connie and Steven.
That is correct. And who is Sardonyx?
Are these characters that you mentioned? Because they're not characters that you mentioned.
They are.
They don't count.
So the ones that compromise them are characters we've mentioned.
Okay, so it kind of looks like a mix between like Garnet and Peridot.
Is that your final answer?
I guess. It could be Pearl, but it's Garnet and somebody.
Okay. Come on, make your final decision.
Yeah, Garnet and Peridot.
Garnet and Pearl.
Garnet. Oh man, I was right. You tricked me.
Okay, so that's
Garnet and Pearl. The only reason I said Peridot because of the little hat, but I saw
Pearl.
the triangle. So I was like, that could be Pearl. And like just like the hand movements, just like the whole demeanor reminds me of Pearl. But it was just like that hat got me off. But at least I considered it as an option. Because I'm amazing like that.
Totally. So next. Come on. Got a problem?
Now it's not working. Knew you were a bad teacher.
I'm sorry, my safety software. So next we have Smoky Quartz and Opal.
I'm guessing that is Steven and Amethyst. Because it looked like Steven and Amethyst. And Opal is obviously Pearl and Amethyst because she got the amethyst lips.
That is correct. That is our giant woman.
That's the giant woman. Yeah, I can tell that was Amethyst because she had the lips. That's the Amethyst lips. She really looks way more like Pearl than she does Amethyst. If I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
And why is Steven and the arms on Steven and Amethyst is why is there that?
So
why
as
is that third arm
sticking
sticking
they
out
get
the
more
arm?
arms,
No, it's not. No, I know that. I don't know why. I guess because they personalities, why that third arm is sticking out the other arm. It's not sticking out like the other part of the body.
So I'm not sure. Oh, excuse me. So, to my knowledge, I think in other views it is a little bit more like a separate arm, but also, I think this is also contributing to part of that factor that Steven is still part human and may not have all the same characteristics as the other gems when they fuse.
Yeah, and I think it's also just their personalities, because that would totally happen if Steven and Amethyst fused. This is the thing. Like, even if he was just not human, their personalities just... That's what I think. That's my fan theory. But I don't know what I'm talking about. Yes, I do. Go ahead.
Okay. And then next, we have Rainbow Quartz and Sugalite.
I'm guessing that is Steven and Pearl. And I'm guessing that's Garnet, maybe, and that is Garnet. I can tell it's Garnet. That's Garnet and Amethyst, because she has the stars on her leggings.
That is correct.
Yeah, look at me. I drew Amethyst today, so I'm recognizing some Amethyst details.
Of course. Then we have Sunstone and Alexandrite.
That's Steven and Garnet. Okay. His show. There's no showing. Where's Steven and Garnet's name? There we go.
Yep.
And Alexandrite. Okay, that's obviously Amethyst, Garnet, and Pearl.
That is correct. And that is the end of our slideshow.
Okay.
There's actually one more I wanted to include, but I couldn't find a good photo. There's one final major fusion in the entire show, and it is the merging of Garnet,
of everybody,
Pearl, Amethyst, and Rose Quartz.
And Steven. And Rose Quartz. Oh.
It's Steven, but technically the gem is a Rose Quartz. And it makes obsidian. And you could impose a photo if you would like. But it is a giant volcanic obsidian woman.
You didn't expect me to get all these right? You didn't expect me to be such a master in the gym game. But I got you.
It wasn't that I made it easy or anything.
You didn't make it easy. You tried to make it hard, and you lost. Some of those you didn't expect me to get right, did you?
There was one or two that I was a little surprised that you got right. I will admit.
You got to pay attention to the details. Little Timmy knows what he's talking about. Professor S, you can't beat me. I'm the master. You're the student.
You say that, but you've almost failed every other examination I've given you.
I don't know what you're talking about. I always pass.
I guess, 2 out of how many episodes we've had now? You've passed? That's like, what, an F?
I pass. This one was a B+.
I guess D's get degrees.
It was a B. This one was a B+. Because the other ones that I got wrong, one I just got the name wrong when the character that I was talking about was right, and the other one was an option that I put, but I just decided to go for the other one because I didn't know which one it was. But we cool. We know the truth. I bet you the other one was the second one that I got wrong, kind of sorta, was an option for Pearl, Garnet, and Amethyst. I mean, not Amethyst, Peridot, because they have some design elements from that character that I feel like probably was like, we'll just use this as a design element for just those two. No, I'm saying that in all seriousness that they probably did that. And
it's plausible. It also may have something to do with their connections via characters and their tasks. So you see, Sardonyx is actually very much inspired by like stand-up comedy and like radio. And so Peridot being like the engineer, the techie, and having a connection to like technology, which is like radio, and communication, kind of makes the sense.
I'd say two things can be true at once.
Whatever you want to say.
Now listen to the episode. Get out of here, Professor. Someone wants to see you. Shoot. Bad teachers. Well,
bad student.
What'd you say?
I also had a bad teacher.
Let me
and the
go get
bad
Kaiser.
student.
Let me go get Kaiser, because then we
Okay.
about to fight. I'm about to meet me in
What
the
are you gonna make
courtyard.
him
Meet me in the
do?
courtyard right now, because I'll beat
You
you
gotta
up.
pick fights that Kaiser has
I'm
to
gonna pick
finish for
fights with
you.
my teacher. You want to go there? You want to go there? Little Timmy knows what to do. Little Timmy got rid of some of the biggest names ever. Do you want to know what happened to Sabrina? You're back. Hi.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you saw that fight between Little Timmy and Professor S?
I
I
know,
went
right?
outside. All I saw was fists going. You know who won, right?
Oh yeah, I've never seen a teacher
We're not
punt a
even getting
kid so
into that. We're not
fast.
getting into that. No,
Mhm.
we're not getting into that. I'm just gonna say that it was violent. It was fun. I got my popcorn. It was great. I don't even eat butter, and I added it all on top. It was cool. It was great.
Yeah.
But that was fun talking about Steven Universe. It was so fun. Oh my gosh, the back of my ear is itching, so I had to. But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy this episode today, talking about Steven Universe? Because you've been wanting to talk about it for a while.
Yeah, no. I think this is definitely one of my favorite episodes.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you. But
Yeah.
next episode, we're going to be talking about, drum roll please, X-Men Evolution.
Damn.
That's right. Oh my gosh, X-Men Evolution on Disney Plus. One of my favorite shows. I have 3 favorite shows, okay? X-Men Evolution, Girlfriends, and The Facts of Life. But this is the animation takeover, so we're not watching The Facts of Life or Girlfriends. So we're just gonna have to go with the next best thing, which is X-Men Evolution, the show that I've been watching every year since I was 10 years old. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so excited. Oh, just like, you're not ready for X-Men Evolution unless you are. If you've seen the show, then you are ready for X-Men Evolution. But if you aren't, if you haven't seen the show, get ready for X-Men Evolution. I don't know which episodes I'm gonna pick yet, but it's super exciting. I need you guys to go out and watch. And Sabrina, who's your friend's name again that made you watch that made me watch that crying episode?
Her name is Skylar.
Skylar, listen to this episode. I'm coming after you for making me cry like that. I'm coming after you. Sabrina, you better tell Skylar. Tell Skylar to listen to this episode, because that ain't it. That is not it. For her to do that to me, I'm the main
Sounds like
character.
you deserved it.
I deserved it.
Yeah.
Skylar, I'm coming for you. Who else made you pick episodes? You said Skylar,
It was
Hannah.
Skylar and
Was it
Hannah.
somebody else?
No, it's just the 3
Just
of us. It
Skylar
was
and
my
Hannah?
panel of judges.
Okay, panel of judges. You coming on this podcast one day, I'm gonna make you understand why you don't make Kaiser Brown cry. I'm gonna make you understand.
They made you
it's
feel
Skylar
something.
White.
Shouldn't you be grateful?
It's Skylar White.
Yeah.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna be outnumbered. So I'm gonna have to get like another black person come up here, and then I'm gonna have y'all watch something so sad, so super sad, that it's gonna make you cry your eyes out.
I'm
But
good.
I'm not sure I want to do that. Then I'm gonna cry.
We do that to ourselves
Lord.
already. Why are you
Now,
going to do that?
do not watch Grave of the Fireflies.
Oh, yeah,
You ever
no.
seen that movie?
Yeah, no,
Don't
never.
watch that. I watched that movie once, and that messed me up. That's so traumatizing. So watch it once. Watch Grave of the Fireflies.
You want
But
something
we
else
ain't
on
watching
this,
it for this
Kaiser?
podcast. What?
Violet Evergarden.
Oh Lord, but that's a different type of cry. Because Grave of the Fireflies is gonna like traumatize you. Violet Evergarden, you get the happiness, you get the sad, you get a mix. Grave of the Fireflies, you gonna be like, why is the little girl sucking on marbles? And then you gonna realize why. And we don't need to get into all that. But thank you everybody for listening to the episode. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Sabrina, say bye.
Bye.
Soul gems will always save the day.